The car was packed full. Suitcases were squeezed in next to bags of snacks. I felt a happy little wiggle in my heart. We were finally going on a road trip. We were driving all the way to Kaufman County, Texas. This was not just any trip, it was a journey back to the place where I grew up. My children were excited. They asked, "Are we there yet?" every hour. I just smiled. They did not understand that this trip was more than just a drive. It was a trip back to my own childhood. I couldn't wait to see the wide-open Texas sky again. I missed the smell of the summer air and the sound of cicadas buzzing in the trees. The drive was very, very long. We were in the car for what felt like forever. The road stretched on and on, a long gray ribbon under the sun. We counted red cars and played I Spy until we ran out of things to see. The numbers on the road signs slowly got bigger, telling us we were getting closer. It took us 2 whole days to get there. We stopped at a motel for one night. The beds were bouncy and the pillows were flat, but we were too excited to care. We were on an adventure. When we finally crossed the state line into Texas, I rolled down the window. The warm air rushed in. It felt like a welcome hug from an old friend. When we finally drove into Kaufman County, my heart did a little flip-flop. It was just as I remembered, yet a little different. The trees seemed taller. There were some new buildings I did not recognize. But the feeling was the same. It was the feeling of home. We pulled into my parents' driveway and the journey was over. The long hours in the car melted away. All that mattered was that we were here. The front door opened and smiling faces appeared. We had arrived. The happiness I felt was so big it could have filled the whole Texas sky. It was a feeling of pure joy and relief. The first hugs were the best. They were long and tight and full of love. My children, who are 10 and 12, ran straight into their grandparents' arms. I had missed them so much. Seeing their happy faces with my family made every single mile worth it. Living far away is hard. You miss the small things, like Sunday dinners and birthday parties. Seeing my children laughing in the same yard where I used to play was a special kind of magic. It felt like 2 parts of my life, my past and my present, were coming together. The long trip was just the beginning of a wonderful visit. We were ready to make new memories in this old, familiar place. The next day, the house was full of noise and laughter. Aunts, uncles, and cousins came over. It was a big family gathering. It had been so long since we were all together in one place. We shared stories and looked at old photo albums. I loved seeing my children meet cousins they had only seen in pictures. They played tag in the backyard, their shouts filling the air. It was a happy time. We ate barbecue until we were stuffed. The food tasted like home. It was a perfect day, full of sunshine and family. I watched everyone and felt a deep sense of peace. These were my people. This was my history. But family gatherings can be tricky. Sometimes feelings get hurt. My cousin got upset about something small. I think it was about an old story someone told. Her face got red and she became very quiet. The happy mood in the room changed a little. It felt like a small cloud had passed over the sun. Everyone tried to pretend that nothing was wrong, but we all knew. Family drama is like that. It can pop up when you least expect it. I felt sad that she was unhappy. I wanted the day to be perfect for everyone. It was a reminder that even with lots of love, families can have complicated feelings. Later, I found my cousin sitting by herself on the porch swing. I went and sat next to her. We didn't talk for a few minutes. We just listened to the evening sounds. Then I said, "I'm sorry if that story upset you." She looked at me and gave a small smile. She said it was okay, that she was just being silly. We talked for a while about everything and nothing. It was a quiet moment, but it was important. We made peace. It felt good to clear the air. Making up is just as much a part of family as arguing is. It shows that you care enough to fix things. The love between us was stronger than any small disagreement. As the evening ended, I thought about all the faces I had seen that day. Some were older now, with more wrinkles around their eyes. Some were young and full of energy. I also thought about the faces that were missing. I remembered my grandfather, who used to tell the best stories. I remembered my aunt, who made the sweetest iced tea. Seeing everyone made me miss them even more. Their memories were all around us, in the stories we told and the love we shared. It was a day of happy hellos and sad goodbyes, all mixed together. It was a day that reminded me how precious family is. One afternoon, we drove to Terrell. This was the town where I lived in my very first house. I wanted to show my children where my story began. We drove down the familiar streets. Some things had changed. A new store was here. An old one was gone. But the feel of the neighborhood was the same. The houses were small and neat, with big front yards. I could almost see my younger self riding my bicycle down the sidewalk. The memories came rushing back so fast. It was like opening a book that I hadn't read in a very long time. I felt a mix of happiness and a little bit of sadness for the time that had passed. We found my old house. It was painted a different color now, a bright yellow instead of a soft blue. A new family lived there. A basketball hoop stood in the driveway where my dad's old car used to be parked. I just sat in our car and looked at it for a long time. I told my kids that was my bedroom window right there. I pointed to the second floor. I could remember looking out that window, dreaming about the future. It was strange to see it as just a house now, not my home. It was like looking at a photograph of a person you used to know. It was a part of my past, and it was nice to visit. Next, we drove to Forney. This is where I went to high school. The building looked bigger than I remembered. We walked around the outside. I showed my children the football field where I cheered at games. I showed them the parking lot where I learned to drive. It felt like stepping back in time. I told them stories about my friends and my teachers. They listened with wide eyes. It was fun to share that part of my life with them. They could see that I was once a teenager too, with my own hopes and worries. The school was quiet for the summer, but in my mind, I could hear the loud bells and the chatter of students in the halls. Visiting these old places was an emotional journey. It was happy to remember the good times, but it was also a little sad. It made me think about how much life changes. The person I was back then is not the same person I am today. Seeing my old house and my old school was like visiting a ghost of my former self. It was a powerful reminder of where I came from. It helped me see how all those past experiences shaped the person I became. I was glad I could share this piece of my history with my children. It helped them understand me a little bit better. The trip was more than just seeing old places. It was about reconnecting with people. Seeing my family again filled a part of my heart that I didn't know was empty. The hugs from my parents, the laughter with my cousins, it was all so wonderful. We spent our last evening sitting on the porch telling stories as the sun went down. The sky turned into a beautiful painting of orange and pink. I tried to soak in every moment. I knew these memories would have to last me a long time. It was hard to think about leaving. Being with family felt so comfortable and right, like putting on a favorite old sweater. Saying goodbye was the hardest part. There were more long hugs and a few tears. We promised it wouldn't be so long until the next visit. As we drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror. I saw my parents waving until our car was just a small dot down the road. My heart felt heavy, but it was also full. The trip had been a gift. It had filled me up with love and memories. It reminded me that no matter how far away I live, a part of my heart will always be in Kaufman County, Texas. That feeling of belonging is something you can carry with you wherever you go. On the long drive back, my children talked about their favorite parts of the trip. They talked about their cousins and the delicious barbecue. They asked when we could go back. I smiled. They understood now. They understood that Texas was more than just a place on a map. It was family. It was home. The trip had planted a little piece of Texas in their hearts too. The journey brought us closer together as a family. We had shared an important experience. We had created new memories together while exploring old ones. It was a trip that we would all remember for a very long time. This journey back to Texas was a journey back to myself. It reminded me of who I am and where I come from. It was a beautiful, messy, and wonderful experience. There were moments of pure joy, a little bit of drama, and a lot of love. It was a reminder that home is not just a place you live. It is the people who love you. It is the memories you share. The trip gave me a renewed sense of connection to my roots and my family. And that is a feeling that I will cherish forever. It was a truly heartfelt journey back home.